Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. I know I've been on hiatus for a while, haven't put anything out, and that's mainly for two reasons. I've been hard at work developing DC20, and frankly, I had covered most of what I wanted to talk about in 0.8. But 0.9 is finally out, and so I wanted to take this chance to talk about some of the new mechanics in 0.9, and this is probably the one I've seen the most questions and confusions about. So let's talk about Paragon, or the Paragon subclass, and class talents, or as some people know them, Paragon talents. So first, let's start off with the Paragon subclass. So a Paragon subclass is essentially an option in DC20, where instead of taking your subclass that you would normally get at level 3, you can instead choose to go Paragon. Paragon almost is its own subclass. And Paragon comes with its own sort of feature and benefits. So let's talk about what happens when you choose to be a Paragon subclass. This is often talked about as being a Paragon Barbarian or a Paragon Bard. So you're a Paragon of your class. So first off, you get a level 3 subclass feature like every other subclass. We call this Novice Paragon, but the name of it doesn't really matter. What you end up doing is choosing a class talent of your choice. Specifically, this should be a class talent from your class. Or you can choose to multi-class into your own class. So what does this mean? A couple of people are confused about the idea of multi-classing into your own class. Multi-classing into your own class essentially just means that if there's a feature from your class that has multiple options, something like Monk's stances, or a Hunter's favorite terrains, or the new Cleric Order feature, well then you can choose new options from that list. You can't repeat options that you already know unless a feature specifically tells you so, and I don't believe there's any feature like that right now in the game. So if you get favorite terrain and you take favorite terrain again, you can choose two new favorite terrains, but not the ones you already know. The same goes for Cleric Orders. You can't take the same Cleric Orders that you already know. So that covers the idea of what the feature is from this subclass. You basically do more of your class. You either get a class talent, and don't worry, we'll talk about what that means, or you multi-class back into your class to get more options, right? If you want to be a monk that knows every single stance, well, maybe at level 2 you multi-class into your class and get more stances, and you go Paragon at level 3 to get even more stances. And your flavor feature, because all subclasses have a flavor feature, is nice and simple. You get 1 trade point. You can spend it how you want, and it kind of represents you having a very flexible sort of flavor feature that you can apply, right? Paragon is very much a sort of a build your own kind of subclass. So what is a class talent? Well, 0.9 has a problem. It never really tells you what a class talent is, and don't worry, this is a problem that we're aware of. 9.5 will give this definition of a class talent, and those Paragon class talents will be listed along with those class talents, with the other talents. And this is an important thing to mention. The Paragon subclasses are the Paragon talents that are available right now. Those are just class talents. So when you're talking about something like Paragon Rogue, well, those are the talents that are available to you. So a class talent allows you to gain access to abilities that either expand on your class features from that class or provide new abilities related to a class's identity. To take a class talent from a class, you must have at least one feature from that class, as well as meet any requirements listed in the talent. So, for example, we remove some features from classes that they used to have at level 2 in 0.8, and some of those features may come back as class talents. They might not necessarily build on previous features. In fact, if they are unchanged, they won't, but they will still be related to a class's identity. So this is what we mean by a class talent. It's basically a talent that's exclusive to the feel of a class, or maybe mechanically builds on that class. And to take a class talent, you need to have at least one feature from that class. Oftentimes, if that talent requires a specific feature, then all you need is to get that specific feature, and then you can take the class talent. So how does this factor into the bigger discussion of Paragon and Paragon talents? Well, let's take a bit of an example. Where are the class talents? Right now, all the class talents are listed after every subclass. So I'm not going to show you all the class talents. I'm really trying to keep it limited about what I'm showing from the book here, but let's take Rogue, for example. Paragon Rogue is this section in 0.9, and under it you can see a talent listed. The talent is Unseen Ambusher. Now, there is another talent in the Paragon Rogue. All the Paragon classes right now, the Paragon Barbarian, Bard, all the classes are going to have 2 talents that are their Paragon class talents. When you are a Paragon of that class, you can only take one of those 2 talents at level 3. Remember that these are still talents. You can take them at level 4 if you meet the requirements. You could even be from outside of that class. If I am, let's say, a champion, and at level 2 I take Debilitating Strike, at level 4 I could take Unseen Ambusher, because I both have one feature from the class, that's Debilitating Strike, and I'm higher than level 3. So I meet the requirements to take the Unseen Ambusher talent. But Unseen Ambusher is one of the 2 talents available to a Paragon Rogue. You can always take the other talent as well, if you meet those requirements. So these are the Paragon class talents that are presented in the book right now. We will have more class talents in the future, but we wanted to get 0.9 out as soon as possible because we know the community's been waiting. So these Paragon class talents all come with a level 3 requirement because they are designed to be more like subclass replacements. They typically add or change the playstyle of a class in a way that isn't just you picking more terrains or more stances, but adds on in a more flavorful way that feels sort of like you're becoming more of that class. Okay, hopefully this should answer all the questions people have about Paragon and class talents. Please let me know in the comments if you have additional questions, and especially let me know what other things from 0.9 you'd like to see explained more in depth. I think for the most part, 0.9 has a lot of stuff that people are familiar with, and if you want to see coverage on the subclasses that have been released, I highly suggest you go check out Bardic Aggravation. They've been doing a series covering all the different subclasses bit by bit. I know they've started that. So go check them out if you want them to kind of review the subclasses and sort of introduce you to them. But I wanted to talk about this core system of Paragon and class talents because it is one that I think has confused a lot of people. All right, well, as always, thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, have the best time.